Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Core Energy Experience. I'm your host, Kurt Bruckmann. I hold my mastery in core energy dynamics. I am a certified global coach. I write for Brainz Magazine, a senior contributor, which reaches 65 plus countries around the world. I am a internationally acclaimed best-selling author in an anthology, Ready, Connect, Grow. I'm here also with our associate producer and associate director, Fabio. We're very fortunate and a very special guest today, our friend, Dr. Axa Yox. Hello, Axa.
Oh, yeah.
How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for the invite, and let's have fun.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. We're such a pleasure and honored to have you. So let's hear about yourself a little bit, please.
I love that part because normally people don't expect. I was very successful in science. For 15 years, I got all the possible degrees. I got even the first prize award. I did 12 inventions. I was nominated as a person of extraordinary ability. And then I decided that I was ready for the real life. Let's quit academia and try. And I failed so bad. I failed miserably. And that's kind of what people are surprised, because whenever you are successful, especially after 40, people don't like to start from the scratch, right? I did. And now I'm here. I published the book. I launched my own podcast. I'm podcasting and I do what I love. What can be better? So if you are somewhere failing and you feel that life, it's not worth the try, never give up. Just keep going, especially if you love what you do. You have all the chances to succeed.
Wow, that is just fantastic. And congratulations on all that, and having the ability to be so aware and the acceptance that after all that time studying science, and congratulations on the award, that it was time to shift your energy and to come into something of your desired ability, and to take the leap and take that conscious choice and those calculated risks. So that's fabulous. So congratulations again. That's really nice. So if you could tell us a little more about your transition and into what you're doing now, would be great.
I love the calculated risk because my risk was absolutely not calculated, but it's just only the life happened and I decided that I was ready for the real life. But the lessons that I learned while kind of failing, they are priceless. Especially it's not the point of the failing, because it depends how you define failing. For me, since I was a child, failing was not trying. So once you shift how you see everything, then you would completely see different picture. For me, everything started that I couldn't let the past go. And I was watching all the motivational videos for like 2 or 3 years, and I couldn't. And I was like, why am I that special? What's happening? Like, why it is so hard? And then I started to follow the forums, and I saw that so many people struggle with the same issue. They cannot let go. Even there are so many motivational videos. They just say, let go, hanging on the past and not letting it go. It's like drinking the poison and expecting the enemy to die, right? But it was not working. It took me 3 years to realize what I needed to let go. And it took me 1 second. Absolutely. I don't even remember. I completely shifted and transformed my life simply because I understood what I needed to let go. So if you are stuck in life, there is a reason. It's either still open door that you need to understand what is behind. You just resolve it, you close the door, and you move on. But if you are stuck for, let's say, 1 year, then there is a reason. And you need to find out what is the reason. And the reason is the comfort zone, which we are also aware of, right? The comfort zone, and then everything starts from there on.
Wow, very well put, Yes, and you hit it with that comfort zone area. And we're also accustomed to being comfortable and in an uncomfortable position, where it's the opposite, yeah? Is to be uncomfortable, getting comfortable. So your point is very well taken there. And that's fabulous that you reached into yourself in that way and saw what was not agreeing with you, and to go forward and start to trust Axa's process, which is fabulous.
That's exact. It's like yokes until it yokes back. So that's kind of the tagline that I go with. But the comfort zone, it's once you know, because I did my master's in biology of humans. So once you realize how our body and how our biochemistry works, it's a bit easier to align, because it needs to be aligned. If you keep calling the comfort zone to be a comfort zone, but you are unhappy, unhealthy, and unfulfilled, what is this? You send your brain the signal that you are comfortable to be unhappy, unhealthy, and unfulfilled. So you put the symbol that that's okay for me. So your brain will start to follow the program that you gave to yourself. This is my comfort. And every attempt would be sabotaged. So you need to become uncomfortable to be comfortable. That's the key. It's not to be comfortable to be uncomfortable, because your brain will still sabotage you. It depends on the how you can take the risk. So the tolerance towards the being fearful, because you still would be fearful. It's not that I'm not fearful at the moment. I am, but I still do it anyway, because the place where I was, it was so uncomfortable. So I decided I don't want to stay there. And this is something that I really want to share, because I was that was part of my TEDx talk that I am applying at the moment.
Very good.
But because I didn't want to split the TEDx talk into two pieces, so I decided to just share this part. So
we're so honored with that. Thank you so much for that. That's great.
This is something that I was shocked when I discovered for myself. So what if the comfort zone is not a comfort zone itself? Like, what if the comfort zone, so what if we stay in our comfort zone, not because it's comfortable, but because this is what we think that we deserve? So what if your comfort zone is what you think that you are worthy? Then, like what we hear since we are kids, like you are not enough, you have to do this to be enough, to be loved enough, to be good enough, excellent. All the thoughts that we have in our head. So we stay in our comfort zone, not because it's comfortable for us, but because that's what we think we deserve. So let's be paid, let's get in the good relationship. We even ignore our health, because I'm kind of working with professionals to help them with the diet and what they eat, how they see the food. And every time when I hear this sentence, it's so hard even to imagine. Professionals, like, you look at their life and you are like, why you don't take care of your body so well? Why we keep ignoring the pieces of the puzzle, which are the complete life? Because you cannot exclude health and think about yourself that you are successful. Health is what will keep you moving when you are 90. Why we decided that 100 is the top, and if we live 75, it's fine. No, the nature designed us to live to up to 120, 150. So 75 is 50%. If you go to work and you agreed to get, let's say, 10,000, 10K per month, and they just give you 5, you would be happy with that? No, they gave you only 50%. So why we don't demand the same for our health? Why we just keep that rolling the so-called comfort zone instead of understanding what keeps us there? Why we think that this is comfortable for us? It's just only simply that we don't think that we are enough and we don't worth more.
Wow, you really unraveled a lot there, Axa. And, you being a highly regarded professional in neuroscience and the understanding of such, let's go here for a little bit because you brought in a lot. There's that well-being aspect, and we can go there. But first, I want to touch upon NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. This is something that you're very well versed in. Can you please describe that to the audience a bit and how that affects us into what you just unfolded for us? And then we'll go more into the well-being and what that means.
So in our body, we have several mechanisms to react to everything that happens. The first reaction is we change our hormones, because that's designed by nature to protect us, that's how the nature designed us. That's the level that no one can affect. Just keep in mind, any first reaction, you cannot influence that. Then comes the second reaction, which is the neurotransmitters. And normally, whenever you hear that your biochemistry changes, once you understand these layers, you will know how to transform your life. Because the first is the layer for the hormones. The second is the layer for the neurotransmitters, which are based on our life experience. That is something that comes instantly because you build that habits, so-called habits, patterns for decades effortlessly because it was based on your natural response. And the third layer is when you assess the situation and you cautiously decide to change it. So if you try to change the habit between the first and the second layer, which is the hormones, and the first, your reaction, which is based on the habits that you build for over decades, you will fail. That's never even try to change anything there. The only chance is to assess the situation and to admit that it's hard. I feel sad. Name whatever you feel, and then decide for yourself, I don't want to stay there. It's sad, it's hard, I'm fearful, but I decide to move on. So that's the link between the second assessment, which comes from the decades, the habits, this is the habits, and then you have the chance. If you operate in this field, which is the second and the third, your assessment, you will break any pattern that was built for decades. No matter how long, you will break it.
Wow, excellent there. And you pointed out experiences and how that is and how the mind and the system, equates that to how we're going to react and go forward there, which is growth, right? So a lot of what you're pointing out to is the understanding of how our internal system operates so we can be better equipped to deliver however the type of energy we'd like to with full understanding out into the world, right? Part of our transformation, if you will.
That's absolutely, yes. Let's say that's the example I always love to bring. If I tell you the ice cream, people, everyone would directly go if you love the ice cream, not the ice cream general. You will remember your favorite flavor, the texture, if you love it out of the freezer or if you love it a bit melted. You will go with the details. Exactly the same way our brain works. So the word that you have with all the sets and the colors in your memory, that's how you will feel the situation. And it would be completely different to the person who faced the tragedy while eating the ice cream. Your intention is the ice cream, is something that brings the positive emotions in you. But the other person who had a bit different experience, they will feel differently. So that's when you communicate to the world, you need to understand, first of all, the person before you has different experience. And also you need to understand that when somebody tells you, the intention might be completely different versus how you take it, how you accept it. When I talk to professionals, because I'm trying to make them to eat healthier, right? I normally go with the longevity. And the funny thing, yesterday I had a talk and the first line goes like, I need to speak as short as is possible about longevity, and people start to laugh, right?
That's great. You're beautiful. That's excellent. Fantastic.
But once you start to hit that you need to eat healthy, you lose. The audience disconnects because you touch the point, which is absolutely something which relates to joy for them. So the food is something that they cover the discomfort with. And no matter how many jokes you do afterwards, they are disconnected. The same way is every time when you interact with the world. If you disconnect, you need to understand it's not the world, it's you. What did you associate the word, the sentence, the meaning with? What is the covered unconscious habits or the patterns that you created over the decades that keep you stuck? And once you understand what is the behind one reason, 1, 2, 3, normally it's up to 3, not more. It's just only covered and masked with the different faces or the words, but normally there is just only 1 or 2, like the fear of being rejected, or we are not enough, or we will fail, whatever is the fear that you have since you are a child. But normally, whenever you grow up, because the rejection normally means you are a child, you don't know anything more. The parent or the peer loves you, accepts you, or they don't. So that's how you start to see the world. If they told you something like the critique, the feedback, you directly go in that mode that they don't love me. While you just need to disconnect yourself from what was before and what's happening now, figure out you need to really organize your brain, declutter your brain, please. That's the best word to use. Declutter your brain from the negativity. Don't think that people want to insult you. Understand what keeps you in that mode. Again, if you love the ice cream, and I say ice cream, you would be the happiest person. If anything negative happened while you were eating ice cream, you will absolutely disconnect. Understand what's inside.
Wow. Excellent. Axa, really. So there are a couple things. Let's touch on a little further. You speak of fear. Fear is really an alarm clock, if you will. In other words, it's there for a reason. We all have fear, but it's not to carry fear. Fear is something that is going to come at us. We understand it's coming, and it's our choice whether we decide to let it stay and fester and grow in us, or to work with it and push it out, because it will change. Time. What does time do? Time changes. So does everything. We do, no matter where we are. It's just how it is. So with the understanding that fear is simply an alarm, and if we can adjust and understand that, it'll dissipate. It'll go away, to your point. And that's part of the understanding of when you speak about internal work and things of this nature that you described those so well. Is that being able to understand, be aware. And then after the awareness, we work into the acceptance. And then we validate that. That will clear the pathway for opportunity. And with the opportunity, we now move into choice. Now we choose conscious choice, as you're pointing out, not just that knee-jerk reaction choice, And then from there, we're able to start trusting our process. And with that comes the real empowerment, the real energy that helps us push through and work with our transition, which we're always doing, right? We're always transitioning in some form or another, because we're eventually coming into another stage, another format of our transformation. So what you've unpacked here is a lot, and it's really, really fabulous stuff, very valuable. When you speak about the intake of substances, food, things of that nature, can you expound upon that a little bit more for the audience?
Yes, I believe even our emotions are built in our gut. It's already proven for decades. Even 90% of serotonin, which is the hormone of happiness, is produced in our gut. And the serotonin, by the way, converts into melatonin, which is the hormone of sleep. So the healthier the gut, the happier the person, and the sleep is better. And once you start to realize that the food that we eat will after be absorbed in our blood and go to our cells, but before it happens, if we eat clear and if we eat whole food, the nutrients which are absorbed from our gut, they will decide how we feel. So if we eat clean, then the clean energy will fill our body, our cells, and the brain fog will completely go, the fatigue, all the positive things, the negative things. But if we poison our body, we don't expect to have a lot of energy, right? And the less you eat, that's something that I discovered since 2 years, because I eat only twice a day. It's only the breakfast and the lunch. That's it. I don't eat anymore. So if there is one, the best, like, if I would just step back and give the best advice, recommendation to anyone, unless you have any health conditions or the need, then absolutely skip snacking. Remove it. The healthiest snack, it doesn't matter, add it to your main meal. Why? Because when we extend the gap between the meals, we give ourselves the time to digest the food that we already had. Plus, it will recover the oxygen, because our cells need the oxygen to digest the food. So if you know what you eat, and if you know how our brain works, how our body is built, you know the building blocks that you need to eat is the proteins, is the fat, is the carbs as well. So the point is not to avoid the carbs, because without the carbs, by the way, some of the vitamins are coming from the carbs. Some of the nutrients will never be absorbed without the carbs. So the carbs create this barrier in our gut for the nutrients to be absorbed. So we cannot skip the carbs. The point is not to eat first of all, too much, and also not to eat the processed food. So the problem is not the carb, it's the processed carb. And once you come to understand that more vegetables, no fruits on the empty stomach, because the fruits still have the sugar, and the sugar directly goes in our blood. It's not very healthy. So once you understand that it's just only simply tiny tweaks that we need to do, start with a salad, eat the more proteins, don't eat the sugar too much or the fruits on the empty stomach. It becomes so much easier. The brain fog goes, like you start with the energy, and less you eat, more energy you have, because the oxygen stays for you, for all the cells to work in dynamic, aligned, and then to complete what you need to complete, instead of being busy all the time to digest what you ate. Because if your cells are busy all the time to digest, they don't have the time to give you the space also to breathe, right? Because all the time they need to work. If you go to work, let's say you go morning, evening, can you do anything else? No, it's the work. The same, if you give your cells the work to do all the time as to digest, they will keep digesting, right? Instead of enjoying and then partying inside of you and giving you the time and the nudge, let's go, let's party, let's align your cells inside, and then you will see how the life changes.
Oh, wow. Great information there for all of us. Fabulous, really is. Eating ingesting the proper nutrients is not an easy thing for a lot of people. We're so used to that quick on the run type of attitude that you described not to do, and to settle into the 2 meals a day like that, and to graze, if you will, a little bit in between. But again, be careful what we graze on, and that's really important.
Thank you.
It's part of the alignment. So fantastic. Thank you for delivering that to the audience. It's great. The understanding, I think that let's make a little more clarity on is the age. When you brought up the aspect that we only live 50% sometimes because of how we operate ourselves, but that we're really built to age much longer. Can you expand upon that a little bit? Because you reached the 125 mark. So let's give a little more juice to the audience, if you will.
Yes, because there are some people, let's say 5% or maybe a little bit less, they can live up to 120, 150. It means that it's possible. It's just only the tweaks that you need to do. And once you understand how we even age, and the only reason behind aging is the inflammation, you understand that we don't age, we expedite our aging. So every time when you go for some food, the processed food, you don't need to see the food, as the enjoyment. You just realize that you expedite your aging. So what is more important for you is to have the short satisfaction, like at that moment, this is what I want, versus to live longer. And also, normally people always think that, I will age and then I will go. No. There is an option even to age healthier. So it's not I will age. Why do we always exclude and always we add the being, having some illness or the disease to the aging? No, aging and being sick is completely different topic. So you can age and still stay healthy as long as it's possible, like up to 80 years. Why do we always exclude? So the tiny enjoyments through the food that we are able to choose, right? Let's say you go for because in the presentation, that's how I try to open up the audience also to come forward. Like I put the picture for the apple strudel, and I normally say every time when you have the option to choose whether to go with the apple strudel or the natural source, and then I put the picture for the apple. But the apple, like the apple, and I am like, no, not this apple. But though no one would say no to that apple. So every time when you decide to go for the dessert, remember that joke. Choose not to eat. As much as is possible, even if you try to reduce what you eat from the sweets. Normally people always think that I have to cut it completely. No. Start to cut 10% every week. In 10 weeks, in 1 year, you will come completely to cut all the processed food. But don't start immediately, like from tomorrow, I will eliminate everything. No, you will slide right back into your comfort zone. If the processed food is still in your comfort zone, is on the list. Because let's admit, our comfort zone is not the place where we live. It's everything that we have on the list, which make us to be comfortable. And one of them is maybe not to go for the gym, not to work out, to work only the hours that is convenient to us, not to talk to people, not to do this. So the list goes on. So if you have the tasty food or the dessert as a relief for the stress on your comfort list, then you will slide right back unless you remove that. And once you start to see the picture of the puzzle, the complete puzzle, let's say, I want to live up to this, but there is a condition. So if you need to live to 90 years, without having any disease, this is the precondition. And the nature didn't create the processed food. Don't forget. Do you know how much the food industries did last year? 31 trillion.
Wow.
31 trillion. Woo. Is with T, not even B.
Right. If we're not careful, it'll be up to a Q soon. My goodness.
And we are paying for that. While our health insurance doubled with the premium, we have less health support. We eat more food. And where do we tend? Just ask yourself, where do you tend? That's it.
Yes, really, really very profound. And is what we're hearing here is a break away from limiting beliefs. In other words, well, we're going to come up to 65 years old and we're going to retire. I've never quite understood what that means. Retirement, retirement is, to me, if I excuse myself for this, but it's our last breath. Then we're in retirement, and then we're on to another means of life, whatever that may be for each and every one of us. So what you're describing here is really something that we should adopt and really understand more. And your awareness of bringing it to the awareness of people is very important. We need to move away from these limiting beliefs that have been handed down for decades and decades, from great-grandparents to grandparents to parents, etc. It's a new day, a new age. I think the time that we're in now is so fast. The changes are so quick, from the analog to the world of the internet and the computer stage, and now the AI and what's behind it. So it's so important, and I'm so grateful to have you with us, Dr. Axa, because you're pointing out things that are there for us, and maybe we're not so educated in it, but we're still available to understand these things, and to have you out there as part of the leadership to bring awareness to people, and the understanding, most importantly, of how it is really important. And these limiting beliefs, we have to do away with them. That being said, you also speak quite profoundly with intention. I have not heard the word goal. Now, this is, again, part of these limiting beliefs we've been taught, that we should be goal-oriented. So to me, when I'm working with the core energy, I bring out the understanding that goals, well, let's see. If I decide I'm going to lose 10 pounds in 1 week, that's my goal. And I've lost 8 pounds, 8.5. We get the cortisol dump. It's that limiting belief, well, you didn't reach your goal, so you know what? Start over or adjust or however. Well, if we use intention, and you've been very good about using that throughout the conversation, it is simply that draws in energy that we're capable of doing things, whatever we really put our mind to, our understanding to, and then we go into the action, yeah?
The limiting belief is exactly why we are stuck, because we were told and sold so many theories, like the maximum to live is 100. We need to go to school, we need to get the education, we need to get job. List goes on and on. So what is the limiting belief that you have, and what was passed on you, like coming from somewhere, and it is not your limiting belief? But I believe our problem is not the limiting belief, is the conflicting belief that we have. So I can eat whatever I want and still I will age. No. I can do whatever I want and get wealthy or retire at 65. Who we were sold the ideas, and now, because so many people start to speak about, people are completely confused because they don't even know that the information is too broad, the information is a lot, it's the noise, and you need to what do we lack at the moment is the focus. The focus and finding what resonates with you and who is telling the truth. Because everyone wakes up in the morning and they are all experts, and you look at them and you are like, you don't even know what do you talk about. So let's figure out, and it's easier than we can imagine. If you want to lose, let's say, 10 pounds in 1 week, is it possible? Because the goal has to be also possible. I want to make 10 millions in next week. Perfect goal.
Can I tag on with that?
Yeah.
Let's get that formula going. Wouldn't that be something else? I don't know. But
I want the 31 trillion that the food industry did last year.
That is an astounding. Really, absolutely. Yeah, that's an astounding number. 31 trillion that we've decided to put into our bodies because it's a material thing. Oh my gosh, it's just so enlightening what you've been bringing here. And the word conflict. Let's go there for a little bit. As you've been discussing it, we as humans feel so conflicted for reasons we really shouldn't, for many ways. And then that's where we should understand more about what we're doing to ourselves and what you've been pointing out, how we feed our system, how we feed it with food, how we feed it with thought, how we feed it with well-being. Also important, on how we're going to take our actions to move forward. So what would your advice be to those who want to do these things, Dr. Axa, and how would they apply that? What would be some of the tools they would use to make that transition in a daily basis?
They have to start with understanding why they eat. Unless you resolve that, you will go back and back all the time. And I perfectly get it. For some people, the food is the release of the stress, because we learned this since we were kids. So the worst thing to say, and I'm actually preparing the article about that, never ever say to a child, good boy or good girl. Why? Because we teach that spike of dopamine, it's not the social media. That's what we teach kids. Oh, do this and you will get the reward. So we make them to be addicted just simply because we tell them, oh, good girl, good boy. So you just put them in that rat race to gain more and more and more. And then we are surprised that the kids go to the social media because they need that, oh, good girl, good boy, or blah, 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 anything like to meet their need. Because we already said that like the limit to have the dopamine. But the dopamine here is something that I want to stress. So the effect of the dopamine is maximum 5 minutes. While the serotonin, it takes longer to be produced, but it takes hours for us to feel that happiness. That's why if you set up yourself for dopamine, you will fail forever. You can never succeed because dopamine, the effect of dopamine lasts 5 minutes, and then you need another shot, and then you start to be exhausted because it's never enough. But once you flip your body to produce serotonin, which is sustainable, that's the sustainable, because that's the so-called hormone. By the way, it is a neurotransmitter. So once you set up yourself for the healthy gut, which produces 90% of serotonin, and then you clear your body from the negative and not very serving nutrients, which are just poisoning your body, then you will see the difference, and then you will understand, what do you want? If you want to lose 10 pounds and it is achievable, even if you didn't, don't spike the cortisol. It's okay. No one is dying from that. You didn't, don't make yourself to be a failure, even if you didn't achieve something. It might happen that there was a reason that you didn't achieve 10 pounds in 1 week. It's okay. Just move on and make it more sustainable versus, oh, if I didn't succeed, so it means that I cannot, and you just go down the rabbit hole and you decide it's not for me. No, everything is for you. Every person can do it. The question is, will you do it?
Absolutely. Wow, Dr. Axa, that's really, really fabulous information. And I suggest the audience take it all in and apply what Dr. Axa is putting out there for us so profoundly and so in depth. It's that you pointed out so kindly that reward system that society has grown into, which creates want, which creates that need, which creates addiction. And it's not the addictions we want, to your point about the serotonin and the dopamine and then the cortisol dumps. So very, very, very valuable information, Dr. Axa. Really thankful for that. Tell us, You're so interesting. There's so much to talk about with you. Tell us what you would like to see happen in the world today, the understanding of the younger generations, and how you're going to continue to contribute to all of that.
With the younger generation, I really wish the parents come to point to spend more time with them instead of just covering their costs, because that's how they teach them to see the world. But the internet also at the same point helps so tremendously when the kids see what is possible. And once you even put out there, this is how I failed, but this is how I did it anyway. And the kids learn it. So it's kind of the medal with the two sides, and you have to find the balance as everything in life. But more we share the lessons and what is better, what worked for me and what for the other person, we can direct the kids and we can help them. I was very successful with the scholarships, really very successful. Every time when I see somebody in the supermarket, anywhere, like at the age to become a student, I always push them, go study, though it's not very common thing to do, right? Because everybody tells I am a drop off of the university and blah, blah, blah. I would never have this knowledge if I wouldn't go to the university. So you have to find that balance still. But the kids are more and more, they come to the common sense, which is starting to explode at the moment. And that's the beauty of the internet, especially LinkedIn. What LinkedIn does now compared to the other social media where you have to dance and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right? We all know that. So the LinkedIn will shape maybe tiny percent, because there are just only 1 billion out of 8 billion of people. But still, even 1 billion, even if we have 10% of that people that start to shift their mindset, they will start also to teach the other generation. And step by step, when you see that it's possible, you also go there and you start to test and to see what works for you. And I really believe that the coming generation will live happier and better, and they will progress with all, even the AI considered to be a very scary thing, but still we always have some problems in the societies, but we always solve the problem. So the AI is threatening, but it's okay, and the growing generation is in safer hands than we were, because the generation already have the sources, they have the knowledge, and also they are eager. They don't have that limit which we had, because we grow up, you have to go to the and the list, right? They don't have it. We eliminated that. We gave them that freedom. You can decide. And now they shape the future, even for us as well, because they shape for us also. And I believe within 5 years, we would face very tremendous but very good changes. That's how I see the future.
That's so inspiring for sure. And, in agreement with you there, I think the younger generations now are more ready and open-minded and willing to be more acceptance of what's really, truly best for them. And the progress that is facing society now, as you pointed out with AI and whatnot, it is that scare, that fear that, no, these tools and other generations have gone through their different scares of industrial revolutions and things like that, all this newness. We tend to shy away from the understanding of newness because we're just not familiar. And this is why people like you are so important to have out there as leaders, and to help people understand what is and what isn't. And it is up to every individual to go ahead and decide. But the younger generations, certainly from what I'm experiencing and you've expressed out there, are very well equipped, perhaps the most equipped in lifetime of modern day mankind. Modern day mankind's gone through a lot. The changes have come about in a timely fashion. Now it's almost rapid fire. But But to this point, everyone's been able to work with it as best they can and accept it. And the younger generations really have so much input now. And I'm finding that their desire to participate is the highest that I've ever witnessed in my lifetime and generations before us. And I think that the more we can bring out in one another, communication is a tremendous thing. And communicating when it's the most difficult is the best time, because we learn more about the issue. We learn more about one another, and as importantly, we learn more about ourselves. So the understanding of to stay involved in education, however that may mean. Keep educating ourselves, because we're always growing. Our experience are neither here nor bad. They are simply growth. Everything is growth in time. And for the understanding of how that is really important. Dr. Axa, it's, wow, you're very special. And really fortunate to hear the audience is, I'm sure, enjoying every bit of it. Just a couple more things before we sign off here. As we approach all these things that are coming at us in society, and the shift of staying away from processed foods and moving into the ability to work with fresh food and to adjust our eating habits and to stay connected to the world as it is and the world as is to come. Other than what you've already put out there for us, what would you recommend in relationships when one side is a dual relationship, two people, where one side is very proactive about what we've been discussing in self-wellness, and the other side is a little lagging? How would you suggest people catch up to one another with that respect?
Wow, I didn't expect that question. So that's something that normally the relationship coaches suggest, like recommend. If you have, because there are 6 human needs. And if for both people, the 2 first, the priorities are absolutely not matching, I believe it's better if you just, of all the best mean, try to find the way separately. Because you cannot force one person and you cannot drag the other person down. That's something that you need to understand as well. But because the feelings, the emotions are not enough, we all know that, right? But what is possible to be done? Because sometimes we need to also understand that maybe the person is behind, like it's lacking something because they just don't know how to do. So if you really want to stay in the relationship, try to understand what is the reason behind. The same as with the comfort zone, right? What is the reason behind? Because we all help people. You help the strangers. So why not to help your spouse, partner, or the person you love? Why we always forget that there is a option to change? Never underestimate the chance that the person can change so dramatically that the person will outrate you yourself. So you might be behind. Never think that if you are ahead, then the person cannot do the same. So my best recommendation would be try to understand why. What is? Are you outshining the person that makes them uncomfortable, so they stay like behind the shadow? Or what is? The intention is everything. If I intend good for you, I will try to help you. But if I don't care, then I would think, you cannot. No, everyone can. It's just only the willing to help, because there is no person in the world who succeeded alone. No person in the world. So be that one, be the first, say, there is this, try. If the person completely is inactive and doesn't want anything, then you have the option to say to yourself even, I tried everything, it didn't work. But if you just say, oh, it's her or his life, they have to do everything, like they have to find themselves, they have to do this. Okay, yeah. But then why you are as a couple? Why? What keeps you as a couple? If the guilt, if the that mentality that comes that, oh, they will blame me if I leave the person. Forget it is 21st century, it's 2025 outdoor. So, forget that. No one needs that. Just be honest to yourself, to the other person, and try to help. It doesn't take so much, just the intention. Be clean, be clear with what you want, be proactive, become the proactive person for the other one as well, and just find what, if you put, let's say, the fish on the tree, can the fish climb the tree? No, never. Then we would think that the person is not proactive. But if you put the fish in the tank and the fish finds the right environment, then the fish will, that would be the best fish, even maybe turn into the goldfish that can make your tree.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Wishes to come true, right?
Right.
It's all about the environment.
Yeah, there you go. Your metaphors are fabulous, and they hit home for sure. Very well described. There's one word that you kept using in there, and I'm a big, profound advocate for the word to be, the word be. And we need to be ourselves. We need to support and let other people be themselves. We don't succeed in isolation, but in the power of be, we can collaborate. And with that said, we can really start to flourish and move on. Dr. Axa, this has been an extreme pleasure, I want to tell you, and I know the audience has enjoyed every minute of it. Now, if the audience would like to follow you or reach out to you, what would you suggest they do?
I'm very active on LinkedIn. Obviously, they can reach me if they want the book. And also, I teach people how to eat. So just drop me a message and then we continue from there on. That's the easiest way to find me.
Fantastic. Well, audience, you've heard it, and you've heard a lot of beautiful, wonderful things today, and I myself have learned, and we're always in constant growth and learning, and to have someone like Dr. Axa in our cachet of availability to learn more and more is very special. I'd like to say to you all, please, whatever platform you're on, viewing this or hearing this, stay on it, press that button, because we're going to be on a weekly basis, whether it's on YouTube, Apple, or whatever the platforms. Please watch out for us, and we're going to help deliver more understanding of things of nature, of how we can operate ourselves and be better as we are in our continuum of growth. So Dr. Axa, I thank you very much for coming on today. We hope to have you on again, and I'll be speaking with you soon.
Thank you very much for hosting. And yeah, just keep going. That's it. Nothing more.
That's it. Thank you, Dr. Axa. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. Have a great moment. Make every moment as best as you can and be. Absolutely. Thank you.